Coffee, coffee, coffee. All right, so you got... He has recovered 50 or more science for us at this point. Thank you very much. Splashdown in the water. Excellent, that's new. Mach 3. He hit Mach 3 below 30,000 meters. That was probably... Oh, flying horizontally at Mach 3. That was probably the re-entry coming in sideways. So, I don't know if that's a legit thing, but, you know, whatever. It's not the same as a jet plane ribbon, but it's all right. First Kerbal orbiting around Kerbin. First Kerbal in space. And 10% solid fuel booster ribbon. Ordered for launching with solid fuel booster at 10% of ship mass. We did use the SRBs pretty excessively there. We got 56 science from that thing. We're at 104 science overall. We recovered some parts, not very many. And, oh, Medical Major has gone to level 1, which means now, when I turn on the SAS stability mode, he can actually hold prograde or retrograde, which is very, very, very handy. We do have a couple of missions, right? Right, the V2. Okay, I gotta do the unmanned thing. Put an unmanned thing in a sub-orbital trajectory. We can also kick off the space tourism, but I want to progress through the historical contracts. Also, at some point, it would be nice to get the Nazi flags out of the game here. So what do we want next? Well, we can afford 2 of these. We could afford 1 of these. Fuel systems is quite nice because you do get the external fuel ducts. Asparagus staging, anyone? But I think it might be nice to unlock the aviation stuff. We should build a plane. Let's do that. We're going to unlock the aviation and the flight control, which will give us some extra winglets, so we can make some planes again soon. But first, we're going to launch the V2. Zingo! Thank you very much for the sub. Bum 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 bum. History mods. History is history. All right, new game or new thing. We're gonna use the Staputnik. This is a probe, an unmanned probe core. It doesn't offer a whole lot of stuff to us, but it does technically run a ship, which is great. We have to get into sub-orbit. So technically it has to go into space. It doesn't have to orbit, but it does have to get into space to count. Most likely we can get this to happen with just 1 fuel tank and 1 engine. This is going to be a pretty light load, I suspect. This might be enough. Not quite. We'll need more than that. It's very light, though, so our thrust to weight is phenomenal. We got a donation that came in. Who is that? Gamer Gazin', hey! Loving the Saturday morning Nerdfest. Have a drink on me. Thank you very much, Gamer Gazin'. Really appreciate it. You're always around. Didn't we just name like a dwarf or something after you? I don't remember. There we go. This is going to be more than enough to get us into space, assuming it is stable. No staging, no whatever. Some basic winglets. I mean, this just has to go straight up and straight down. That's it. We don't have to recover this. I mean, we could. This is only costing us 2,600 space bucks to finish. It's not terribly aerodynamic, though, is it? Ideally, we'd have a fairing around here. Now, we got a couple options for that. Can I just use this? No, I gotta use the fairing base. Because I don't think we've unlocked normal fairings. So, haven't used these, Oh! There we go. So, do you automatically build it? Can I tell you? Auto struts, auto shapes, more nodes. I mean, do I still have to attach something to you? Or do you just work at this point? You got a shape. Oh, there you go. Excellent! Cool! There we go. Looks kind of spaceshipy. This is going to be the V-Bad Mark 1. Very bad, Mark 1. Battery's not going to be a problem because it's going to generate from there. We've got no scientific instruments on here, but who cares? I mean, we could transmit some stuff back, but that's okay. Yeah, let's just launch this stuff straight up, have it hit space, finish the mission for a cost of now about 3,200 Kerbal bucks. Totally not a bomb. Hold on. Totally not a bomb. Mark 1. There you go. Excellent. Thank you. Make it all pink. I could have recolored it because if I used more procedural parts especially. Now pink would have been bad. I see what you're trying to do. All right, full throttle. Totally Not a Bomb has no SAS. Revert flight. So it will need some help to stay stable. I'm going to give it the bigger winglets. Could just go with 3. We'll go 4 down there. There. That should help keep it going the same way. So there's no stability assist. So that'll be interesting to see. Might not be a bomb, but it could be 2 bombs. Alright, Totally Not a Bomb. Full throttle. Go. In fact, throttle back, because you're going to go too fast. So I'm hoping, right now, there's no SAS, there's no computer. Actually, I could have replaced this with the Reliant, slightly cheaper, with no gimbling. If it starts to go, and it is going a little bit. It is going a little bit. Yep. That is going to be tricksy. I may have to come back when I've got a better probe core with actual SAS. Ironically, it might actually be slightly easier to control if it was a bit longer and the control surfaces were down. You know what I could do? I could do the Scott Manley trick. Rotate, grab. Can I rotate less? How do you rotate less than that big chunk? Turn off angle snap? There we go. Okay, a slight twist that way will actually cause this thing to start corkscrewing on its way up. It'll start spinning. And while, like, I don't think the inertial, like, rotational... Well, no, it does. It might help, but it also helps cancel out some sideways things. Even if it doesn't work, it'll look awesome. Let's go. What could possibly go wrong? No hands. No SAS, no hands. I think the fairing is starting to pull apart at the top. There's literally nothing steering this at all. The Steputnik has no reaction wheels. Technically, the engine can gimbal. Again, I should have replaced it with something else. Actually, I should have replaced it with like an SRB. Actually, yeah, that would have been even cheaper. An SRB, derate the thrust, so, oh, a little wobbly! We can do this, goddammit! I don't think the V2s had any sort of... I'm just going to revert because it'll be faster than waiting for this thing to crash. I don't think the V2s had any kind of guidance system, did they? Maybe they did, but I'm betting they just sort of fired off at an angle and then just had a certain amount of fuel. Just me, or is Quill trying to make ballistic missiles? I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, if we just throw a thumper on there. Hello. There we go. I mean, we could put... Do we want to use tail fins, maybe? It's a little bit bigger. Turn on the angle snap. Nice and low. Oh. 4-way symmetry. Actually, three is probably enough. I think that'll look proper. And then turn off the angle snap. Grab the rotate. Take this. Just a little rotation. Just enough to start it spinning. Just an SRB. The thrust to weight ratio. Wait, what is... Oh, that's the fairing. Don't want the fairing to go right away. I'm going to take the thrust limiter on the solid fuel, just so the thrust to weight isn't quite as nuts. Even 1.8 is going to be pretty crazy, but we'll do that. And this should reach space. Last launch. If this doesn't work, then we will come back when we've got a probe core. V2 had guidance. Okay. It is rocket science. We'll come back when we've got a probe core that can do SAS. Because that's all that we need. This looks a little bit like the rocket that like people used to draw in like the 50s or something. Oh, throttle doesn't matter. Just go. There's nothing for me to do. Like even like the Tintin goes to the moon one. You know, some of those shapes. I guess because they were all inspired by these sort of like V2-ish kind of things. All right. So again, it's going to start spinning, and we're hoping that it helps it to stabilize. Headline: Quill crashes vintage V2 rocket in England. Blame stability problem. For all I know, I have to angle the fins a bit more. But I've seen Scott Manley do this in his realistic solar system playthrough. Of course, he had lots of failures too. Well, we're halfway through our fuel. We're still stable. Now, the problem is now, like, we are going a little transonic here, actually. If we bring up FAR, we're... Oh, no, we're at Mach 2. We've gone through the sound barrier, which would actually be the roughest place and the place we're most likely to go sideways. Notice the rotation is slowing down. There's not enough air for our winglets to bite into. Apoaptis 50, 55. If this crosses 70, that means our rocket will enter space, and it has crossed 70. As long as it doesn't burn up or flip out or get destroyed now. Although, as long as the probe core survives to go into space, this will go way into space. Hear me, baby. Hold together. You can do it. You can do it. Almost 300 kilometers. Okay, now that we're out of the thick part of the atmosphere, we can get rid of the fairing. We could have done that earlier, actually, which would have lightened our load. If we had done that while the engine was still burning, we actually would have gotten a little bit more mileage out of it. There we go. Completed the V2 contract. Excellent. Now we will win the World War II for sure. Apparently I can't do a German accent. It sounds like some sort of weird, bad French accent for someone who can't speak French. Anyway, boom. Very majestic. A little phallic. But what rocket isn't? I mean, really. I don't think we have to watch this thing crash land at this point. There's not a whole lot. I mean, we'd just be sitting here for the next few minutes. And we've got better things to do with our time. Cool. Okay, if we had a little bit more money, we need enough money to upgrade our tracking station, our command center, and our VAB. That will give us everything we need to be able to launch the moon. We do have enough to upgrade this for more parts, which I am going to go ahead and do right away. But we have to upgrade the tracking center to get patch conics, and then we also need to upgrade mission control, which will enable us to have more contracts simultaneously, which is handy. But more importantly, with the two together will allow us to use flight planning and maneuvers. Actually, we can live without the maneuvers. As long as we've got the patch conics, we'll be okay. All right, more missions. No. No. Okay, these Grand Tour ones are neat, but no. These scans wouldn't be bad. Wait, there's another V2? Ah, but this is a naval mission. Launch the Blossom 1 rocket. So... Oh, and we need to get this one back. It's got to go sub-orbital and come back. It'll give us a total of 35,000 space bucks, though. Which is going to be important. We do need money, which means we got to complete missions. We still have the one to kick off space tourism. Oh, which we just have to bring one tourist with us. And not have them be killed. Do they have to go to, They have to go orbital. They have to be orbital. And come back. It's a big ask. We do want more science soon. That's going to be another thing. We do have some new science experiments, though. Oh, I said I was going to do a plane! And the astronaut thingy for EVAs. That's going to be another good source of science. If we build a plane... Let's build a plane. And try to go to the highlands, or maybe the mountains. Just get a little bit of extra science in some other biomes. That'll be a good idea. Okay. The astronaut building, what's it cost to upgrade? Okay, 75. So we can't do that yet, but yeah, we'll have to do that for AVAs. All right, let's build a plane. Science! Wait, US V2s? Yeah, well, they went and, like, stole the... Well, they didn't steal. But, yeah, the German rocket scientists went over to the States, and Werner von Braun actually, like, sort of started his own private company and was doing good rocket stuff, but the Navy was like, no, we must do the rockets that will send us into space and do whatever, and they weren't terribly successful. But, yeah, anyway. So, we do have this kick-ass Mark 1 cockpit. It's been redesigned in 1.05. It looks awesome when you're inside it, which is great. The problem is this. If we want to do a single inline jet engine, because we do have one jet engine, the J20 Juno over here, we don't have a good place to put the air intake, right? So imagine we'll have like some sort of, you know, we have our gas over here, our fuel, and then we have our jet here. The only air intake. So jet engines need air. Rocket engines, the fuel mixtures has liquid fuel and an oxidizer that blend together, and that's what makes it go boom. With the jet engine, you suck in actual air from the atmosphere and then combine that with just simple liquid fuel, and that's what makes it go whoosh. So the only air intake we have right now is a small circular air intake, which sort of kind of has to go like in the front of things. Can't even select it. There we go. Which I could have a pair of these jet engines sort of slung under wings, but what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to reset this one. We're going to use the Mark 1 command pod as our flying base, because then what I can do is I can put the small circular air intake on the front of that, which is going to be fine. And then what we're going to do is we're going to science like that, and then we're going to put a fuel tank behind that. It could be, you know, any size. We really don't need much in the way of fuel. What I'm gonna like to do for this one though is take the, actually I guess we can use the Mark 0. Basically this, like the skinny one, or the procedural one. I don't know if I can get it to be better. It's max length, actually. Yeah, it's a little bit longer. And then I'm gonna just bring the diameter down to whatever the engine diameter is. We'll try to get them to fit nicely. So even smaller than that. I mean, obviously the smaller it is, the less fuel it can keep, but that's okay. And I know it looks a little derpy. It'd be nice if I could make these conic, like, different shapes and stuff, but I can't. Maybe I've got to unlock it later. I don't know. We want to only hold liquid fuel. That's the only thing we need. And we're going to change the outside. I like the Goldie bits. There, Goldie bits over here. So I'm just trying to make it a little bit longer. It'll be a little easier to stick more plainy things on there. We are going to want a little bit more science. So basically this is going to be configured to make a one biome hop. So it's going to have the one materials bay. It's going to have the one goo container. I might even be able to use some like universal container stuff for this. We can go and embed it a little bit inside. That's fine. It's going to get a thermometer. There we go. Magnetometer. God damn it. Over there, just kind of in an awkward position, but that's okay. We don't need an orbital telescope because we're not going to be in orbit. So we're going to have, that's going to be our science components. Then we need some aerodynamics. So now we know where our center of mass is. Although it's going to change as we add more components. But in addition to the center of mass, we're going to need to know our center of lift. And we want our center of lift to be just behind our center of mass. So we got a bit of lift just from our body because of FAR. We are going to want some, I don't think I'm going to use tail fins. They're a little bit big. I'm going to use these winglets here. Even they're kind of on the large size. And this is going to be the way it has to be though. Put on symmetry, drop that there. Maybe we can make this bigger. Suppose we can double up on the science centers or something like that. I don't know. Let's see what happens. Let's get some... Don't think I want the swept wings for this. Maybe. How come the center of lift, there it is, isn't updating? I think these are a little bit smaller, which is going to be a slightly more reasonable for this design. Okay, so the center of lift is just behind the center of mass, which I think is good. Now, once the fuel tank's empty, center of mass is just going to move forward, which is, I think, the way we want it. We need elevons, which are control surfaces. we're going to want to pair here. It's kind of awkward to place, and I can never figure out why it's like that. You end up having to do like weird rotations. We got to do one like that. No. There we go. One there. Another one here. Now, I want to not use these for anything other than flaps, which is something in FAR. So I'm going to turn off. It's not going to be used for pitch, yaw, or roll. And over here, this one here is only going to be used for roll, which will make it a lot easier to steer. These things here are only going to be used for pitch, which is normally what the taily bits are used for. And this thing here is only going to be used for yaw, and everything else is going to be turned off. That should simplify things a fair bit. The airplanes look a lot better when you get more parts, but it's not terrible. Now, the hardest part about this is probably going to be getting the goddamn wheels on, especially since we don't have a whole lot of goddamn wheels at this time. And honestly, like, the one steerable landing gear, it's nice to be able to steer on the ground. Let me go and hide these things. But it's sometimes a little bit wobbly. To be honest, life's going to be a lot easier if we just have, like, a square configuration of landing gears, even though these aren't going to be steerable. Come on. Pick up. There we are. This one. There we go. It's also hard to figure out the rotation. Alright, a couple like that in the front, and then a couple more in the rear. Like that. You don't want it too far back, because then your plane can't sort of pitch up when you're trying to take off. But this should be nice and stable. Especially starting off, we don't have a very smooth runway. We have a very high tendency to flip over and die. Let's throw in a couple of battery packs as well. We do generate some power with that going on. But I think I'm going to feel better, because we're going to... Well, I don't know if we're going to transmit much, honestly. Maybe we don't need the batteries. I guess we don't. I guess... Hold on. We could do the batteries, and instead of having a pilot fly this, I could have a scientist fly this, right? I got my rule that, you know, my spaceships have to have pilots, but presumably my scientists can fly jet planes. Why not, right? Oh, we need a name for this. Tell me what the name is. Okay. Wings are just behind the center of mass. I think this will fly. One steering in the back, yeah. I mean, we could go with the sort of tail dragger configuration. I mean, literally, it's got the actual tail, the biplane tail skid, which would also work. Nerf plane, paper plane. The Gold Baron. Ooh, I like that. Ah, the Firefly! Can't take the sky from me. Firefly Mark 1. It does. I mean, it does have a glowing butt, especially once we get the engine going. It'll get hot. All right, let's give this a try. Let's throw a scientist on here, because, yeah, we could actually recycle the experiments if that comes up. So our first scientist in the list, Dead Meat 98, who hasn't gotten his chance to do much yet. So Dead Meat, congratulations. You're going to fly the Death Trap. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? Because landing is hard, also things can go wrong. We're going to mount some parachutes on this bad boy. Now, I'm tempted to mount them on the wings for more stability, but the wings might get broken off at some point. I will mount them to there. There we go. And change the staging like that. There we go, guys. Emergency parachutes, and it still looks cool. It does look like a little bug, doesn't it? Excellent. Mr. Harold, thank you very much for your half-year subscription. Cheers. Front wheels aren't straight? Oh, they might be cambered. I guess they are, because they're on an angle. I could rotate them and fix that. I don't know if it's going to be critical. Whoa! Actually, how are they so uneven? Maybe it's just an optical illusion. I mean, they're going to be cambered in because of the thing. I could go and fix that. Tell you what, let's go ahead and science from here. We can do a temperature scan from the runway. Let's recover the vessel, as opposed to just restoring. They'll be okay. I think it would be fine, but promised only pilots would fly in space. I think it's going to make sense. All my Kerbals should be flight rated. This is going to be a training plane. This is what are the NASA training planes? Is it TR or something? NASA's got these training planes that pilots can use all the time. At least they certainly did. And like everyone, all the astronauts were pilots. But the only people that I'm going to say are authorized to pilot a space mission will be actual pilots. We could test this with an actual pilot, though. Oh, we're going to want SAS. There's no probe core on this. Okay, no, I should use a pilot. Alright, so what I need to do is grab the rotation tool. grab this. There we go. There. It's because it was lined up with the front of that. Save this, and yeah, I'm going to want SAS, so we need a pilot. So Medical Major Kerman just went, so we're going to have April Ryan do that. Okay. This time for sure. Also, I should have fast-forwarded until it was morning. T-38s, thank you very much. Or TR-38s? Same as the F-5 Freedom Fighter. And they've used it to, like, go places. Oh, what time? Maybe it is morning. Okay, I don't know what that little physics glitch is when we bounce in. Okay. Stability on, full throttle, go. We've got the starting runway is so bad, we actually might want to just get off the runway first before we try to take off. Look at these bumps. Look at this nonsense. The rest of the ground is a lot smoother. Okay. We're going to get off the runway for the next flight. Oh my god, I've actually dented my forehead by wearing this like that. Still, I'm going to put it back on. April Ryan. Dead. I'm not going to revert. It's going to be canon. Test pilots, man. Test pilots. Someone's got to play taps now. Brum, brum, brum. We'll fire off a 21 rocket salute. In our minds. In reality, we're going to try this again. Hey, I can recover some bits. I think... Oh, I want to fast forward until it's actually bright and morning. I think the plane is fine. It's just the runway is awful. Our death was literally caused by rolling around on the ground. I could upgrade the runway, which makes it a lot smoother. But it's not where we want to spend our money, and we don't actually have enough money for that. Okay. Warp the next morning here. Oh, we were actually like sunset time. All right. Next pilot. So we got the Firefly Mark 1. Next pilot. He's like, do I really have to get in this thing? Yes, the Everix, you have to get in this thing. Yeah, spec, the glitch comes from not having an actual tarmac runway. Yeah, that's it. The level 1 runway is dirt and is bumpy as hell. You actually never want to use it. It's terrible. So, woo! I still don't know what that is. We're actually better going backwards. Alright, we're going to light the engine. Just get a little bit of forward motion. Now, these wheels don't steer, but as long as we're moving forward, our rudder will. We're actually still gaining speed because it takes the engine a little while to spool down. Tap the brakes a bit, bleed off a little bit of speed. Okay, just over 1 meter per second. Turn down that way. We'll start to roll down the hill a wee bit. And there we go. Try to roll down straight. Then we'll use grass. Typical Kerbal engineering. The grass on the side of the runway is better than the runway itself. Hey, we got more science. Ooh, can transmit. I don't have an antenna. Right. Toggle that back. Okay, we're going to quick save just in case there's a weird technical glitch here. Which sort of the last one would have counted, but let's give this a try. So we should be able to roll when we hit around... I'm going to turn off the SAS because actually the pilots are terrible about it. Or not. Take off. Take off. Take off. Take off. Take off. Oh, my back wheels. Oh, don't lag on me. There we go. Back wheels might need to move up a little bit. But there we go. We're up and off the ground. Yeehaw! We're so much safer now that we're off the ground. Because especially since we don't have to worry about landing. We do actually have the parachutes in case of emergency. Nice. Oh, she flies great. Our little Firefly. Can't take this guy from me. Vroom. I gotta make sure not to pitch too hard because it could actually rip the wings off if I'm going too fast. We actually are going quite fast here. I bet you this thing could hit the sound barrier. Might not be able to go past Mark 1. Especially without swept wings. And it certainly wouldn't be stable if it got there. Plus the non-retractable wheels. But other than that, oh, look at this gorgeous little plane. Is this not the most adorable little plane you've ever seen? So cute. Wow, we're still accelerating. We're at, like, well, 2/3 throttle. I'm definitely still accelerating here. Alright, so we're aiming for the highlands and the mountains. Maybe just the highlands to start off with. We've already got a couple experiments. Actually, we could, even without a scientist, we can go and grab the stuff from here. Oh, we are going way too fast. We're starting to shake up, and we're getting some Mach effects. That's not good. But yeah, if we land, we can EVA, reset those, and then do something, but that's assuming I can land without the use of the parachutes. Valdir, thanks for the resub. And Vlad Nico Mata, thank you very much. It's relatively flat here, but not that much. Wow, it really rolls over quite quickly. I think what I'll do is actually, and I can do that now, is just bring down the roll contributions like 40% there. That feels a lot better. Whoa, pitching up too hard. It was actually, like, we were going really fast. I don't know how much this converts to in like kilometers per hour. Someone in chat can probably do the math. I mean, we're not at the speed of sound, but we're starting to enter that transonic zone. I think anywhere like around 0.7, you start to get like really weird little effects over your different things. Plus, if you try to just, you know, pitch up too hard, the amount of air stress on your things could cause them to rip off. I'm also happy Dang It hasn't come and like screwed us anywhere yet. Oh, it's a joy to fly this thing. We should probably take a break soon, shouldn't we? We've been going 2 hours without one. Tell you what we'll do is, I will attempt, I don't know where the highlands versus the mountains, I don't even know if those counts as mountains. I will try to do a parachute-based landing over there, and then we'll take a break, and then we'll come back and return to space. Flying planes in this game is so much fun. I mean, spaceships are mostly, you know, point it somewhere and have it go, right? Don't forget to serve the peanuts, that is true. Most important part of flight. Alright, I'm going to kill the engine now. There we go. Engine throttled completely down. Not technically deactivated, but completely throttled down. Speed is burning off. We're still climbing, though. That's actually the real reason where speed is burning off, is because we're mostly climbing. I'm going to go ahead and enable... Well, we're probably a little fast for flaps still. I wonder if we could land. I don't think I want to risk it. I think I'm going to deploy the parachute-based landing mechanism. Yeah, I don't know if this counts. There's probably somewhere I can click. Crew report? No, don't override it. There's somewhere I can get biome information. I mean, it won't be this, because this will just tell me flying, right? It's not biome-based? No. You can, like, dismiss or reset an experiment in there if you haven't actually, like, collected the science. Okay, speed is 120 meters per second. Okay, I would like to land right here. Deploy the parachutes. And then we're going to have to keep flying for a little while, but it should... yank! Now we're in a full stall. But there we go, it has killed our speed. And turn off the SAS, and we'll try to make sure our wheels are the bit that land. Easiest way to land the plane there is. A little bit, you know, neck-wrenching in the cockpit. But there we go, lots of fuel. Jet engines are very fuel efficient. Lots of ISB. Let's turn on the parking brakes. Whoa! There we go. Material study. What do we got? Where are we? We are in the mountains. Good. It's actually really hard to land in the mountains because a lot of these bits look like mountains and they still count as highlands. Highlands are also a lot bigger and wider. So, all right. One of the samples appears to be judging you silently. I get that all the time. I'm used to it. It's okay. Mystery goo? You observe the goo. I certainly do observe the goo. I'm going to EVA report from here, flying over the mountains, most precarious situation. We're going to keep that data. Then we're going to take all the data. We'll reboard, which probably gives me another crew report. Excellent. We're going to keep that. And EVA again. I'm going to take and store. Now, it's going to be a little bit tricksy. What I'm going to do is try to stand up over here. Oh, this is actually from the mountains on the ground. So I'm going to keep that and then store it. What I'm going to try to do is reset the thermometer, or rather grab the data from the thermometer Jet engine's still on. You can hear it. Take this data. Take that data. And then don't slide down. There we go. Come back over here. Grab board, which will store that data and let me run them again. There we go. Keep that. We're going to keep that. And there we go. I could take off again, but then my parachute landing system is no longer going to be functional. If we had an engineer with us, we could repack the parachutes. Pro tip. We'll have to unlock some crew cabin later on, and we'll be able to do an airplane that can carry 3 people. Scientist to reset the material bay and the goo bay, an engineer to reset the parachute, and the pilot to do the flying. That'll be excellent. So, we're going to go ahead and recover the vessel over here. Yeah, Wolfgang, I don't think I can reset the parachute if I'm not an engineer. I might be wrong, but I think I have to be an engineer to do it, to repack it. I might be wrong. Maybe everyone can do it. Everix got an achievement for getting 10 or more science. Excellent. He won 31 over there, which actually gives us enough to unlock something else. We're going to look at what we can unlock. So these are all too expensive. General construction does give us struts, which honestly we do want. Everything else isn't quite critical right now. We could just save up for one of the more expensive sciences. In particular, fuel systems will unlock a lot more, but I think without struts, we're not going to be building bigger ships anyway. So let me go ahead and do that. We're going to take a short break, guys. When we come back, we're going to return to go back into space. Although we might go and science the Highlands as well. That might be pretty good. We'll see. Okay, short break. Be right back. Everyone get up and stretch. See you in a minute.